Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the new Kill Team rules. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Kill Team, how to turn tangled terrain of Beta Decima from obstacles to opportunity. So very cool. We were discussing this and how I wasn't sure how everything was going to play out. Basically, Games Workshop busted up the Kill Team box, the same that they did with Warcry, where they put the two Kill Teams and a small piece of terrain with the books and the cards and everything in one box. And then they had the Killzone available in a separate box, and that was the Beta Decima box. And because of the way they divided everything up, and the book coming in the Salvation box, the actual Killzone Beta Decima didn't come with its own rules. So Games Workshop announced a little while ago, and now they are actually providing those rules for free. Which is actually even better than just putting them in both boxes, in my opinion, because now, regardless of whether or not you buy the Beta Decima Killzone or the Salvation set, you have the rules for free. So you could basically just make your own Killzone out of stuff that you already have and use these rules, or you could buy the actual Killzone itself and use these rules. But regardless, you don't have to buy anything and you have them for free. So very cool on Games Workshop's part. Always a fan of them giving away stuff for free. After a year of fighting in the claustrophobic confines of the Space Hulk, Kill Team has now moved to the precarious oceanic platforms of Killzone Beta Decima, in the new season that has begun with Kill Team Salvation. The Killzone is rife with dangers, and you'll need to scope out the treacherous topography of Beta Decima's industrial arenas in order to survive. The rules for the new Killzone and its hazardous areas are available to download for free right now, alongside a guide to using them with the missions from the Approved Ops card pack. So we've taken a closer look at both below. Alright, so first we have the download Killzone Beta Decima rules, and the links will be down in the description. So 3 pages, Killzone Beta Decima. So the first page talks about the actual specific rules, what comes in the kit, and it talks about the gantries themselves. And in case anyone is curious about the measurements on these with the platform on top, the short ones are 2.5 inches tall, and then the double stacks or the tall ones are 5 inches tall. And then we have the Ferrotonic Furnace, and the Ferrotonic Furnace again, and the Ferrotonic Furnace itself, including the actual platform on top, is 5 inches tall. With the little central platform in the middle of it, it's 5.25 inches tall. And then the third page is the hazardous areas, and it just talks about essentially the line of sight, altering rules and everything for shooting across the hazardous sections of the board and how they affect the kill zone. But regardless, very cool of Games Workshop to provide that for free. And then also download the Approved Ops 2023 hazardous area rules. All right, so here it talks about the actual objectives and everything. And these are the TAC Ops rules. And then if we just scroll down here, this is 5 pages total. We see the little key and everything. And then page 3 through 5 is 2 maps each. So very cool. We've got the actual map layouts provided for free. You could print these off, obviously, do whatever you want with them, make your own cards, etc. Just awesome of Games Workshop to provide those. I really was curious how it was going to work out, and it didn't make much sense that you would buy the Killzone potentially or not buy the Killzone and still not have the rules at all. So it is very cool of them to actually just release them as a free file. The main feature of Killzone Beta Decima is the great big waterway in the middle of the double-sided gaming board. One side is a yawning chasm into rolling areas. One side is a yawning chasm into roiling seas, while the other is abridged by a crucial central platform. The operatives can't dip even a single toe in these water areas. To traverse the middle of the kill zone, they'll need to climb up on the platforms and hang precariously over the ocean. Some platforms are separated by deadly gaps which operatives must leap or fly between. Not every gap is safe to jump, but now the new mission maps in the Approved Ops 2023 Hazardous Areas download will show you exactly where your operatives can safely cross. If there is a yellow line between the two platforms, they're close enough for you to take a leap of faith. So here we can see where the yellow lines are. Doesn't specify the actual measurement distances, but it looks like it's essentially less than 3. Another key feature of the kill zones is line of sight or lack thereof. From ocean spray and industrial fumes, those watery spaces work similarly to a big block of obscuring terrain or a huge smoke grenade. If a target is at least 2 circles away from the hazardous area it's obscured, that usually means it can't be shot at. And then obviously there's a lot of stuff with special rules that would alter that. It's worth noting that it isn't the same as being obscured by a terrain feature. Standing within triangle of the hazardous area doesn't prevent you from being obscured. Also, that 2 circle distance only counts actual hazardous areas. If the target is 2 circles away, but your line of sight only crosses a tiny corner of a hazardous area, you can see them just fine. So yeah, very cool. I like how that rule's set up. It definitely alters how the game plays and just gives us another thing to kind of enjoy and work around. Also, we've seen the next piece of terrain that comes in the Nightmare set, and it's a big platform that kind of goes in the middle. You have the ability to put the Ferrotonic Furnace on top of it or to work some other maps around it. So that should change it up pretty cool as well. So definitely excited for this season. It seems fun. And I like that we're not going to end up with a million sets of very redundant terrain. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video. Another difference from regular obscuring terrain, operatives standing on a vantage point like one of the gantry platforms totally ignore the obscuring effects of hazardous areas. They can see and be seen over the mist and fog just fine. This is true whether they're shooting or being shot at, and whether their opponent is on the floor or stood atop another platform. Instead, operatives on vantage points have considered the placement of gantries if line of sight crosses through the area occupied by another gantry. Even if it passes right between the legs, the target is obscured. This works both ways, meaning elevated snipers can't pick out ground level enemies in the shadow of gantries. They are protected against returning fire from the same targets. So presuming this is like multiple gantries right here, stacked like next to each other, shooting down through them, still would protect the Scorpion in this case. And then here, shooting down from that same vantage point, because there's not a gantry in between, the target would not be protected. Even though in both scenarios, the hazardous area rule would be in effect. Because these rules specifically use the obscured terminology, they interact normally with any rules that deal with obscuring. The incursors of the Phobos strike team, for example, can ignore obscuring entirely. This means that kill teams who rely on long-range firepower will need to protect their spotter operatives or lean more heavily on mechanics that bypass the obscuring rule, such as the marker lights deployed by Pathfinder kill team. Close-range kill teams need to play a careful cat and mouse game as they advance. Keeping a chunk of hazardous area between your operatives and the enemy will protect against ground-level shooting, while clinging to gantries can keep you obscured from snipers and vantage points. The risk-reward of climbing up on an elevated position is higher than it has ever been. But in the kill zone, you can set up the barricades on vantage points. Don't forget to deploy a few of your barricades up the exposed gantries, giving your operatives cover as they advance or hunker down. And remember, there's one of the many ways you can play Kill Team. Regular open board missions from the Kill Team core book offer a totally different gameplay experience, while the claustrophobic close corridors of Killzone Galadark mix things up further. A healthy mix of missions from all environments keeps your campaigns varied and fun, and most of all forces commanders to constantly rethink their strategies. Just ask the players at the World Championship of Warhammer, who had to tackle two kinds in the same weekend. And that is definitely true in the past, even before like the more recent seasons of Kill Teams. Most of the time you had like the open board and then also what turned into the Dark, which was like the indoor maps. So it's not crazy to think that in the future we'll actually see a lot of like tournament organizers using all three sets of rules, which is definitely fun because it's going to make it so that you have to plan your team and your gameplay style for like all three of these environments. And honestly, I think that's super cool. It keeps it fresh, it keeps it mixed up, and keeps any one team from like dominating in certain scenarios. Because the ones that are going to be good on like a big open board or potentially a hazardous board like the incursors are not necessarily going to be as good on an indoor board like Into the Dark. So very cool, and again, gotta love whenever Games Workshop gives away rules for free, because now, regardless of whether you bought the actual Killzone Beta Decima or the Salvation Box set, you can use the existing terrain that you have, or just use the measurements to create your own, and you can play on the Hazardous Environment expansion for free. So very, very cool, and again, gotta give it to Games Workshop on that one. Anytime they give away rules for free, that's absolutely awesome in my opinion. So let me know what you think down below. I'll have the links in the description for both of these downloads, the Killzone Beta Decima rules, and then also the Approved Ops 2023 Hazardous Area rules. Let me know if you've played with these rules yet. I have not so far. I'm currently working on my Beta Decima Killzone, and then also I am in the process of painting up my scouts. And I have to say, the models are absolutely awesome, and the Killzone's pretty cool as well. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products. And hopefully Beta Decima will be back in stock soon. It does look like it's going to be returning. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.